Good evening to everyone. Sunday and our regular stream in English for all those who are fond of English, who are fond of psychology. All of you are always welcome during our Sunday evening to participate in our discussions. And with every stream, we are striving to become a bit more intelligent, a bit more versatile, and certainly to speak up, to find the articulation for our own ideas. And sometimes it's easier to do it in a foreign language. It's the fact very few people think of, but me being a linguist by one profession, I have thought about it for a long time. Hello, team. For a long time, and it occurred to me that sometimes speaking about something very subtle, very difficult to understand. Sometimes it's a better way, Anastasia, hello, to do it in a foreign language. I will talk with you about it one day because this is the field of my investigation, because I'm a polyglot and I speak many languages. Certainly English is, so to say, the best one because it's my major, but also I can speak on psychology in some other languages. And one day I dream to find the group, to find the followers who can join me discussing the same topics, not the same because there is a variety of them, endless variety of them. But those, maybe it will be some of you who know other languages except English and Russian. So, and one day, not now, certainly it will be not sooner than half of a year later after that. So, but maybe we will start Spanish group, or maybe we will start French group. I don't know. The only target here, even not to develop your language, your English, but the target here is to try to think in the other language. And this is the fantastic opportunity. And as psychologists, while we are waiting for our group to join us and to participate actively, there are already some people, and I'm glad to see them. Each of you, please say hello, don't be shy. It's interesting to notice that many ideas can easily come into our mind, into our consciousness through the other language. I can explain this difficult thing. Our psyche, our conscious mind, and today we will deal with persona. We're continuing discussing shadow topic and persona topic, referring to great scientist, great psychologist, great psychiatrist Carl Jung. And when we will talk about persona, we will understand better how our own persona likes to be right, likes to be, hello Arina, right to avoid mistakes, to be an excellent student, to be a perfectionist. All those qualities they like in persona. And certainly persona is fixed in our mother language, because mother tongue, because in native language we were educated. And some imprints, some mindsets, especially those which we cannot notice on our own, in which only psychologists can help us, those mindsets can be changed easier, much easier when you think about them, not about them, but I mean about the topics to which they refer. You can find the way easier to them in the foreign language, because as if the foreign language, hello Helen, as if the foreign language avoids the mindsets, avoids those imprints which block us when we speak our mother tongue. So that is why for every newcomer, or for those who come across those streams and videos, I explain once again, I did it in my short films, video films, but every time I will repeat it here now and then, that these streams are not purely for the native speakers, though I would love to see some of them here and especially to participate. And I hope they will come because they show some interest, but I even don't know if they join us because I've never seen during those streams anyone from those whom I don't know. So, but one day certainly people will join us. But the target is not to imitate the native speakers, though I can. For me, it's not a problem. I speak the language my audience can understand, can perceive, and can digest. So, though I use many psychological terms, I use very fresh, popular, in the modern English structures. But at the same time, I try to check if most of you, because you're also of different levels here, and some of you have richer vocabulary, some of you have just a good vocabulary, you have different listening skills, listening comprehension skills. So certainly I cannot guarantee that each of you understands each word I'm saying, but I must be sure that you are capable of following my speed, my speech, and you can participate in the discussion. So that is why sometimes I explain the notions, I give the difference between the adjective and noun. So it's completely necessary for those who are here and for whom English, I underline this fact, is just the second language. And it's an admirable thing, I can say, that we can talk about such serious topics. Not everyone dares to speak about it in their mother tongue. But we are brave enough here, guys. We are brave enough to discuss such complicated, entangled, sometimes inexplicable things, but we do it in English. So that is why I can make a compliment to you and to me as well, that we're here not for the first time and you participate actively. It means that you follow my idea. And today I will try to read your messages, hopefully in a quicker way. At least I will try if it works, because I thought of the other device where I can see your messages quicker. But now we start. I have enough people here to start our conversation, to go from the last topic to the new one. Today we are adding the notion of persona to the notion which we only have started discussing, shadow. And as usual, I have some questions to you, because last time I tried to provoke you a little, just asking if you are bad. Certainly it was an exaggeration. Actually, I wanted to ask you, but I changed at the last moment the question, if you can be bad. This is the proper question, actually, because certainly it's a sad feeling when someone feels that he's bad. It's not right. If someone feels like that, he or she should do something with it. Either change something or go to somebody and discuss it and understand where the problem is. Certainly, we can go on. We can develop new things. We can enjoy life only when we have this very tranquilizing feeling that we are good. But certainly we shouldn't be blind and think that we are only good, we are only right. Certainly it's ridiculous. So the right question can be, can we be bad? So, and this is the question which I want you to answer now. And to see what your questions will be today. So please, each of you, and certainly I don't want you to write just yes or no, but can you imagine yourself being bad? What can, some of you wrote some information comments after the video, and there were some facts because you had a task to analyze when you can, oh my God. I see. Sorry for that. Where is the sound? So, 2 times. Me too, sorry. I was even frightened by that. So now I see how it slows down. So all the information goes a couple of seconds later. That is why I get your answers later. And besides, it takes time for you to think a little. So in the long run, sometimes I get questions when we already start the other point of discussion. So let me make it more clear what I would like you to answer right now. What can make you bad? Is there anything in this world that can make you bad? I mean, behaving bad, reacting bad, when you can say, after all, when you come down and you think, oh, maybe it's not so good. Okay, Tim has written that he understood that he needed to be rude with some people. Okay, maybe rude is not the best word here, because being rude, it's not a good thing, even with bad people. So to say, I'm sorry in front of those who join us, maybe from part to part. When I say good and bad, certainly it's very relative, and it's not correct to say it in psychology. To be rude, it's bad. And it's not in any situation. So maybe Tim meant the other word. What is the word, by the way? English-speaking people, what is the word? What is the idea which Tim wanted to express, probably? He meant that there are some situations in which we shouldn't be so mild and soft and polite. How will we call it? I see it doesn't help. Truthful. No, truthful, it means that you speak the truth. So when we don't want to be mild, we understand the situation is not maybe fair, or we want to defend, we want to defend our ideas, our beliefs, something we really value. Yes, Irina, I agree that others people's aggression can provoke the response. Absolutely right. We respond, and it's the response of the healthy psyche, maybe a childish response, sorry. Maybe it's not sophisticated, but it's natural, let's say biological response when we see aggression. Our body, our primitive psyche, if it's healthy, if we haven't repressed it completely and have become robots, certainly we react, we are provoked, let's say, we do not react, we are provoked to be aggressive in reply. So the word which Tim probably meant, he will tell me when we have a class with him, what he really meant, but the word is assertive. If you don't know this word, please learn it and value it, because this is the quality which a successful person should have. Without being assertive, no success awaits us, because we will be failures, unfortunately, even if we are good professionals. Because assertiveness, This is the ability to be ourselves under any circumstances, to defend our boundaries, to defend our principles, and not to allow anybody else to use us, to abuse us. So when we are assertive, assertive means the person who can defend himself, and not necessarily in a rude manner. In a rude manner, it's the extreme, and typically it doesn't bring any result, except maybe some rare cases which we talked about yesterday during Russian streams when we speak about the abuse, direct abuse. And you will hear next time in your Russian stream that sometimes when we try to get rid of the abuser in our life, sometimes we need even to be rude. But maybe this is the only case. This is the only case when it's acceptable. But generally, to be rude, it's not a human quality. It shows our weakness. When we are rude, it means we cannot control our emotions. And this is the problem when we cannot be assertive, my friends. Do you understand when I say assertive? Did I explain the word correctly to you? Did you get it? So if we do not learn, or if we are not assertive, then sooner or later we become rude and aggressive. And then we shock the people. And then we disappoint the beloved ones. And then we are disappointed in ourselves, because what we do when we are rude, it has terrible consequences. We just provoke the situation. We cannot solve the issue being rude, but we can do it if we are assertive. So the root, the foundation of our assertiveness lies in the same layer, in this unknown layer, which is called shadow part. There we take our energy and forces. Also, some other answers. Nastya, what about you? Helen, what about you? What can make you bad? Yes, and by the way, you can be, okay, you can remember that you can be rude, but now we try to learn how to avoid this condition of being rude, how to use this reaction of aggression to your benefit. But you can write now that it can make you be rude, because it's quite natural. If you cannot control those impulses, certainly sooner or later you can be rude. Typically it works like that. As we say in English, familiarity breeds familiarity. So aggression breeds aggression. Politeness breeds politeness. So if you don't know, you can look at after our stream the word breed. So because there are many sayings in English with this word, to breed. Yeah, and certainly as Irina has written, so the reason of some desire of being bad can be somebody's aggression. So I still don't know if I should wait for your answers or should I go further, because I don't want to lose the time, but it's so good when I have your answers. I can frame my next statements to your answers, taking them into consideration. So, okay, I will ask you one question which has no vivid connection with the previous one. Have you ever thought why a person who is intelligent, clever, and smart, why sometimes such a person can be boring? Why sometimes a person with big intellect, we understand rationally that it's a pleasure to meet him. It's so interesting to listen to his thoughts and ideas, but it's not interesting in the long run. Theoretically, we understand it, but when we start listening, we get bored. And we think, by the way, if we are self-critical, we think that, oh, probably it's not my cup of tea. Maybe it's not my field of investigation. It's not interesting to listen to it. And then all of a sudden, one day, we come across the same topic, but the other person who is not smarter than the previous one. But when he speaks about that, we become attracted, and we glue to the screen as if we hear something which excites us, which wants us, which makes us think, which makes us act. And there can be the same things which are mentioned during the first speech and during the second. But during the first one, we thought, oh, one day I will have enough patience and I will listen to it attentively, but not now. No, I didn't answer about you when you get bored, but I asked why we get bored sometimes talking to a person or listening to a person who is speaking. Hello, Marina. Yeah, it depends on charisma. Mm-hmm. Again, Helen, it's okay. Yes, it's bad when you're not heard, but I meant more the speech of somebody, the lecture, the speech, the information. Mm-hmm. Okay, you mentioned the word charisma, which is a different topic. And some of you mentioned the ability of the speaker to make you interested. Yes, all of you are right. And charisma goes straightly to that. Nobody can explain clear-cutly what charisma is. Yeah, okay, Marina, that's all right. We are all late from time to time. I'm as usual 10 minutes late, but I'm working on it. So, but okay, I accept your answers. But now, referring to our topic, where do you think this resource, the potential of being interesting, lies? Certainly, you can guess that it's in the shadow, but in which way? How do you understand that? I repeat that shadow is the part of us which we, let's say, do not understand if we haven't decided to deal with it voluntarily, to learn it, to fix it, to trace it, to pay attention to it. So if we don't do it, maybe sometimes intuitively not knowing the word shadow or explaining it in terms of Carl Jung, but if this part is absolutely unknown to us, this is something which we don't know about ourselves. So we can put it like that in a very simple way. So shadow is a part of us which we have no idea of. And you can easily guess that this ability and charisma and this potential to make people interested while you are speaking, you are sharing with them something, when you are capable of attracting somebody's attention, all those qualities, they go from this shadow. But how can we understand that? Because it's one thing to say it. You can believe me, or you can say, okay, I trust you, Ilona, but I would like to have some explanation, some grounds for that. Okay, energetics, too dim. It's too dim. We will not speak here about mystics and some energies and all this stuff, because it's not for this platform. Though we can accept that there is bioenergy which each of us possesses. Yes, Irina, emotions which we get to the speaker, but if you mean emotions which are provoked by the communication you have had, it's one story. I'm speaking only about the situation when you don't know closely the person. For example, you are browsing the YouTube channel and you are interested in the topic. For example, some of you, for example, is interested in literature, yeah, or in history, or in economy, and you have the variety of information, and you click here, click there, and you stop at one film and you watch it till the end, and you just stop at the other and you realize, oh, this person must be very clever. He speaks such a language, he uses such interesting terms, he puts everything so smoothly, but in a couple of minutes you get bored and you think, okay, I will fix it somehow, I will save this information, and I will go back and I will listen intensively, I will listen in a focused manner, concentrated to it. So how can we understand, oh no, not understand, how can we explain that in one situation we don't even think, we glue to the screen, but in the other case we just estimate, evaluate the information, recognizing the fact that, yeah, the speaker is clever, the speaker is professional, it's a scientist probably, or just a professional. But okay, in 5 minutes, I'm thinking again about my everyday routine, some problems, some troubles, or maybe some enjoyments, but I'm not in the process. So what in a person can attract this? Let's avoid the word charisma right now, though it's the right answer, I should say. This is charisma, exactly. Yeah, it can be monotonous. There can be many explanations to that. The proper word is boring. Yeah, when we say boring, it doesn't mean that the information is not necessary. And sometimes when we need very much and we are well motivated, we can listen, we can read some even boring articles. Each scientist knows that, because in order to write any serious research and investigation, you need to deal with many boring papers, but we all do it, those who are in science, and we know we are looking for, we are picking up the most interesting things. But sometimes even in science, you come across an article reading which you forget that this is a scientific article. You read it as a novel, and only by the end you understand, oh my God, it was a scientific article full of terms and awkward structures typical for the scientific language. But I was so much captivated by that I was inside. Okay, inner voices we also leave apart. So, okay, I will give you the clue. So, when you see a child, a cute child, a funny child, how do you feel typically? Certainly, if you are not traumatized, because some people cannot stand children at all, not because they are bad, just because they are traumatized. Let's take it for granted as we are here more or less balanced and psychologically, or as they say in English, mentally healthy people. Attraction, probably, Helen, you wanted to say, or interaction with the speech. I can hardly imagine compare with our knowledge. All this rationalizing, Irina, yeah, we compare, but it's a rational process. When you can rationalize, and if you are disciplined and if you're well motivated, you will listen even to a boring material because you have a target, you are an adult, you're not a child who should be every moment entertained. So that's why we listen to some boring stuff, and we are even grateful, saying, okay, it was really an extremely intelligent person, and the lecture was fantastic. Though sometimes I needed to be focused, I needed to control myself not to be distracted by something else. So yeah, we feel joy. We feel joy and attraction to cute children, and we are amused. We are very much amused. And how do we behave if we start interacting with little children? For example, involuntary. Do you know the word involuntary? Involuntary, what does it mean? Involuntary, voluntary and involuntary. Yes, Nastya, thank you. Involuntary, from time to time, I have little kids as my students. I never was specialized. I've never been specialized on children, but from time to time, my life develops like that, that I cannot resist. And I take them. And what I have noticed that sometimes it's a disaster to work with them. Sometimes it's a pleasure. It's a relaxation. It's a pleasant game. So you never know with a child to which turn it will go. And sometimes after such a class, which lasts only 45 minutes, I can be tired for many hours. Sometimes, due to such a class, I can be recuperated as if I have already had my night rest and I'm in the beginning of the day and I can do so much. What is that? What is the interaction with children? What does it bring to us, to adults? So Tim has written joy. I can say amusement. And what do? We adults, serious, clever, smart, sometimes controlling adults. Why can we interact with children, and when can we do it? Who can be a good teacher for a child? Which quality is necessary? Not so much knowledge, by the way, because you teach a child in most cases something elementary. You shouldn't be so proficient in English to teach a child English. If you have basic of the language, it's quite enough to be a good teacher for children. If, what is if here? And you fail completely, because I have seen so many teachers, elementary school teachers, who were just failures. They should have chosen some other job, because they only bring some damage to those children. Um, okay, pleasure. It's okay to get pleasure from what you are doing, but I have given you the examples that sometimes it's a disaster. It can be. And okay, to take a pleasure from the disaster, it's very hard. To take it. Yeah, Irene, childish, but childish in the best meaning of this word, because for an adult, sometimes to be childish, it looks idiotic a bit. But when you not relax, but when you allow yourself behave with a child as a teacher, first of all, but secondly, you go down a little to his level and you interact with him in a childish way according to his or her age, and you speak the language a bit, not completely, a language he or she uses. You provide him or her with those examples which are close to her, to this girl, and you play. You always play, learning grammar, you play, drilling sounds, you play. You never behave as this model of the teacher at school, stereotype teacher. All your lesson is a game, always a game. Okay, I wouldn't connect it with IQ. Ah, you mean emotional intellect. What did you mean, Tim? IQ or EI, because we have emotional intellect. This idea. And maybe it goes with emotional intellect, but it doesn't go with IQ at all. IQ is a very disputable issue. So what are you, what am I trying, where am I trying to lead you? So in each of us, there is a potential of still being a child. And this is the road to the shadow. When we are capable of behaving in a bit childish way, but not in a stupid way, not in a primitive way, but bringing up all this nature which was inside the child, or maybe which even was missed. This is the key word. The nature which probably was missed during our own childhood. Then, no matter how we call it, charisma or being genuine in English, they say. Being genuine means to be, how to explain this word? To be genuine, I don't want to translate here, though in this case the translation would be very great. Being genuine means to react in your own way, not according to the standard. So being frank, sincere, and open, but not because you know social manners, but just because this is the situation which provoke this feeling of yours. So, yeah. And when we can deal with it, when we can bring up this childish nature to our profession, to our relationship, my friends, this is one of the greatest secrets of successful, never-ending relations in the family. when a man and a woman, even being serious parents, serious, I mean in the brackets, because real parents, they play with their children. When from time to time, but not always, because this is the other extreme, when the relationship becomes infantile, when a man and a woman behave like children when they're talking to each other, it's nonsense. It's something absolutely idiotic. Yeah, but when we have these 10 minutes, 5 minutes of interaction, no matter how old we are, but when we play with our partner, when we become coquettish or just behaving like children, it's not then the infantile attitude, but it's the manifestation of different sides of our nature, which sometimes is the most attractive and the most interesting, and the part which we ourselves never know. And as one of my favorite writers, Iris Murdoch, a great English writer, one of the greatest in the 20th century, she said that you can put down this wonderful phrase: to find somebody inexhaustive is a simple definition of love. So when we love the person, certainly we should also do it in a reasonable way. But this natural attraction, it goes further and further and never finishes when the person surprises us. When at the moment when we say, oh, I know him to the skin, I'm under his skin, so we are common. I know every gesture, I know every glance, I know every movement. Well, what can be new? But all of a sudden, this very well-known person says something or looks at you or behaves differently, and not because he schemes to do it, okay, I will make a surprise, but because his nature, his or her unpredictable nature, which he or she himself doesn't know, comes up, and it's always fun, it's always excitement, and it's always unpredictable. And this is what we love in people, because we can respect our partner greatly, but the day we get bored uh, with our partner, unfortunately, we start rationalizing the relationship, and we base this relation more on respect, which is quite necessary, as I mentioned yesterday, when we were speaking about the topic of the relationship. But certainly, love story is not only respect, and when we manage to keep this flame of love inside our relationship, it means that we are realizing our potential. Because this potential, which is unconscious, it can be applicable, or applicable, as they say in two variants, applicable to our social sphere, and it can be applicable in our uh, relationship, to our relationship with our partner and long-term family. Now, haven't you heard a contradiction? I mean, those who attend all my streams, who have been attending, because very often, especially when talking about Jordan Peterson, I say something like, the worst thing is to be naive, to remain a child when you are 30. Okay, being a bit of a child before 21, it's okay. It can be accepted. But older you become, it's a sadder and sadder picture if you remain a child. Nothing good in that. Isn't it there a contradiction between this statement and the statement? Yes, Helen, the teacher should interest, but if you remember the story we read with you in our favorite Arakan book, You remember about this black teacher? We read that story. How many methods he tried? He was very conscientious. He was very reliable and responsible, and he wanted to be a good teacher, but none of the method worked because he couldn't integrate his, now I'm using the terms of our streams, he couldn't integrate his shadow in the process. Because if he could find the way to those children, even if they were traumatized and from the bad families and couldn't be interested at all in the learning process, but still he could have influenced them then. But he couldn't. He just followed the classical methods of teaching and worked very hard, but no result. We couldn't see any result, at least in this episode which we read together. So nothing of the kind, just only frustration and disappointments. And we remember how many methods he tried. So coming back to the question, don't you see any contradiction in those statements? It's a sad, sometimes I can say a tragic picture to see somebody who is 40 and realize that this person is a child, and it's not a compliment. Why to be naive? It's worse than to be bad. What a statement, my friends. Those who don't know psychology, they would say, what are you saying? It's better to be good, to be naive and kind and open to the world. But I would say that it's better to be not good than to be naive. And at the same time, I have provided you with the example that we can interact with anything, with anybody easily and present the material which we have in our head deep in our mind, rationalized, digested material in an interesting way only when we give away a little way to a child, which is in this case, I think it's possible, which is somewhere there in our unconscious, in the shadow. Do you see any contradiction here? You are less today. I mean, less people than usual. Maybe some of you got tired a little because we had regular streams, so many. We have had them lately and everywhere. And I can guess that it has become your one more education, because I think after a couple of months of those streams, you would know more than a standard psychologist after university, believe me. And this is not my target, by the way. I'm not giving you a new profession, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe some of you, at least I know some people, from our Russian group, so to say, who have some education in psychology, but maybe not each of them works in the field. And I know some people who are going to get this second education. So, but it's really maybe too many meetings, and I understand that some people have the other things to do. Everything is good within frames. Within frames. What do you mean? To which it refers, Marina? Okay. My question was about the contradiction of those two statements, that on the one hand, we need to be grown-ups and adults and rational people. On the other hand, only a child inside can make us spontaneous, can make us unpredictable, a little in the positive sense, because being too unpredictable, this is a sociopath and people with whom it's impossible to live. When the person is always unpredictable, it's not a good quality. Please refer to my question. If you think that it contradicts, then say why. If you don't think that this is a contradiction, how can we become mature and keep this child inside? I know that the answers come later, but I hope that during these short breaks, sometimes I need to get some of your answers and I'm waiting for them, but we do not lose the time, because you can think during these 1 or 2 minutes, hopefully that you're not falling asleep or just are not distracted by some other activities. Because it would be sad for me to know that because of those breaks, while I am waiting for some answers, to start from them to the other notions. I hope that I'm not losing you during this time and you don't get bored. I hope you don't, because I ask too many questions. And you always have field for contemplation, for thinking, for pondering on this. So what to do? I gave you just two oppositions. You can ask me. So what are you going to leave us with? Should we become mature, serious, well-disciplined? Or should we remain children? There is a contradiction. Yes, Marina writes. Yeah, from the first sight, there is a contradiction. What are the other opinions? There is and there is no, because if we take it at once, for example, if a teenager or a young girl is 18 or 16, in a way she's still a child. And sometimes we can say the person up to 30 can be referred as a child, but growing more and more from his childhoodness, I would even use the word, becoming more and more mature. So this is very important transition. In the long run, yes, it should be flexible, but it's so seldom is, Irina. It's practically impossible. So if we speak about harmonious development, incremental development, which goes from one stage to the other, yes, also, Marina, what you have written, it's the ultimate best variant. But certainly we have different transition periods. And those who haven't grown up at a certain age when it was necessary, unfortunately, they remain, let's say, immature, irresponsible. They still stick to their mothers, fathers. So that is why the separation from the parents so important. Because if the child, the young man, the young girl don't stop being in close touch in a daily communication with the mother, the maturity will never come, because the child, the young, not child, but the young man should face the reality where he or she is on her own, and not mothers whispering everywhere, advising all the things, nagging and all other stuff. So maturity comes only in this way, and it should come at a certain age. If it doesn't come, the picture is sad. We have the other picture, which is even more sad to me as a psychologist. When I see children, when they're just 10, 12, and they already look like, they are not, as snobs, as boring creatures who are just learning, thinking about marks. This is the only thing they care about. And they are only concentrated on their studies and being well disciplined and do everything at the excellent level. There is no child anymore in this teenager. And it's bad, because the whole part of his or her psyche is lost somewhere, and it will take a lot of effort to regain it at a certain moment. So that is why the natural transition period is to become mature, not earlier and not later. Certainly, children who are traumatized, who go through very bad experiences, and it's not necessarily connected with the physical damage that they were beaten or somehow punished in their families. Sometimes the divorce of the parents, some dramatic arguments in the family can afflict the child in such a way that at 5 or at 6, he or she is already thinking like an adult. And parents sometimes are amazed and they're glad. They say, oh, what a philosopher is growing up. You see how he thinks, how clever our daughter is. She thinks in such notions. Sometimes, yes, this is the sign of the future, maybe genius or at least a talented person. But more often, it's just a sign that the child has become mature before he should. And it will be very hard for him or for her to be an easygoing person later on. He would be always like this academician, in the worst sense of this word, which we used in Russian language. Yeah, boring, monotonous, disciplined robot, just a robot with no risk, with no temper, with nothing of uniqueness, just a machine who is always well disciplined, doing all the tasks, yes, no, categoric, black and white, and no personality there. This is the point. Okay, simplicity may be not the right word, Helen, here. So maybe you meant being categoric. This is bad, black and white. But simplicity sometimes is a wonderful thing. Being able to enjoy and digest simple things. So If everything goes, so to say, smoothly, naturally, and at a certain age, a teenager becomes mature, not at once, step by step, step by step, by a certain age, and this is, by the way, the middle age crisis, when there are certain results in front of you, but still you understand that you missed something in your life, maybe the most important thing, then it's high time to go back a little, to get acquainted with your shadow part. And one of the best way, the easiest way to get acquainted with it back, is to go into your childhood experiences. Sometimes they start with a hard page, with a difficult page, because in order to dive into your memories, sometimes you need to open the door, and this door can be blocked. And only psychologists can open this door with your own help. And at first, the first page will be unpleasant and maybe even disgusting. That is why you don't remember the most part of your past, of the childhood. And this page is not as disgusting as you think. You may think, because you don't feel it clearly. You don't remember it clearly. You are just afraid of you don't want to go there. This is your resistance. But if you go there through professional help, after this maybe bad page, you can find so many qualities and things and experiences which you had being a child. Not necessarily you need a psychologist for this. You can do it on your own. If your memory is not completely blocked, you can pick up the glimpses of the memory which are connected with your childhood experiences. And in this way, you can bring them back. So my last question for today is, what prevents us from going into these memories, and what prevents us from being a child? I mean, a child when we are mature, when we are serious, when we are responsible, when we are well disciplined, when we have this list of qualities which each adult should have, when we are separated from our parents and we do not depend emotionally on them, neither materially nor emotionally, when we are independent, living separately or with our own family beings. What can prevent? So we have a choice, why not? Today to be a child, tomorrow to be an adult. What prevents us from going there? Why so often we need a psychologist to guide us there? Why so often it's impossible to do on your own? Yes, Helen, we should, but it's not always possible, you see. There is some power in us which doesn't allow a child to come out. And if we have some bad connections, bad memories, maybe not memories, but associations, which we cannot explain, but they close the door of the childhood for us. When we say, I don't remember anything, I don't remember anything, or I just remember one episode when I was 10 and then one episode when I was 5. All the other things I don't remember. It means not that you have a bad memory. It means that you have several episodes, maybe they're just nothing. But your psyche keeps them as a lock, not to let you go there. Maybe it was a drama, maybe it was a trauma, but maybe it was just a very funny thing, which when you remember it now, being an adult, you will laugh at it. And you will understand how many years you lost just because you didn't want to go into psychology and to become confident, multilateral being, because you stole from yourself this part of a child, not you certainly, but the events of your childhood, maybe your parents' mistakes, maybe your teachers, school teachers' mistakes. Uh, they stole from you the most interesting part, the most unpredictable and adventurous, romantic part of you, because you cannot go there into your reminiscences. But who is here? Who is here inside our world vision who doesn't let us be ourselves? Team society. Everything society is guilty. Yes, Irene, according to some classification, transaction analysis, there is such a direction in psychology. We have this classification that we have all of them, but it's not our today's topic. And to tell you the truth, I like those books. I read them thoroughly, but I don't use it in my practice. Because I think there are better approaches. Because not every moment a child can be killed, unfortunately. And to interact between child, adult, and parents, this is the whole story. And it's quite dangerous for people who have neuroses and maybe borderline cases, if they always think that, oh, there are three of me inside, and they start talking to each other. People who have proclivity to some psychoses, and me being a psychologist, my first step is to protect people from worse states. So I don't play these games, going there to these roles, permanent roles. Yeah, according to this structure, they should be in balance. Right here. So it's not the society. We are team. We are here speaking about psychology. There is social psychology, which studies the relationship between the personality and society. But it's not our topic. We leave society alone because we will never understand the way we go, the way we grow, if we always refer to the society, because in the society we accept or we oppose those things which we actually oppose in us. And when you oppose the society and you say that this society is bad, actually it's your repression of this part, or those who are politically very active or against some politicians who like talking about bad government, bad attitudes. These people are arguing with their shadow, actually, because ideologists or anti-ideologists, these are shadow possessed people. Because the person who is psychologically developed, he understands that everything starts inside himself. And the society always offers open way and maybe sometimes closed way, which you can choose, to which you react and which you can avoid, not going deep into it. Yeah, but you should stop being a child. They're right, Tim. It's ridiculous for a man who is more than 30 to be a child. When I say child, I don't mean to behave like a child, because behave like a child, it's a stupid thing. So, coming back to the question, what prevents us from taking out? It's good that I had this comment. Please understand me correctly. When I say that I can bring up my childish qualities into the lesson with the child, it doesn't mean that I behave like a child, because I wouldn't ever be a professional teacher or professional anybody, or even a good mother. I could hardly be if I behaved like a child, because I'm not a child. Thanks God. But something in me allows my childish nature to come up through the adult's qualities. And then it's a fatal combination, fatal in the best meaning of the word. Then it's charisma. When you can be at once, when you can be a serious person with brain, with a scientific point of view, but sometimes playful, unpredictable, not knowing what you will do next in 5 minutes, but certainly it will be, as Marina wrote, in the framework of the adult, not a child. Why? And I cannot say that I can do it always. I can do it in some of the manifestations of myself. I cannot say that it's so easy for me that in any sphere I can be both an adult and a child. So I also have many things to learn, no matter that I'm quite an adult person. I never stop learning. But what prevents us from being these genuine people? Tuning. This is called like tuning. Tuning. I don't understand what you mean by tuning. But I ask the question: what prevents us from? Oops. What prevents us from being showing this genuine nature? Showing this genuine nature to the world. And what makes us boring? What makes us monotonous? What makes us dull? What makes us predictable, stereotype, prejudiced, computerized? And we can have 3 diplomas. We can really possess big amount of knowledge, but we don't have a spark. In English, it is called to have a spark. Yeah, when you interact with somebody, the person has the reaction. You cannot be taught to do it. Social standards, but it's close to not to feel freedom. Social standards, again, social standards. How do you like to blame the society? Yeah, the society can be blamed for many things. But who makes you to follow those social standards, especially when you say so often some bad things about society? I always have this question to people who express their, what is the word? When they show that they're displeased with the society, that the society is bad. But why then do you follow the social standard? If you don't like the society, why are you social? And you are social. You're a social animal, because otherwise you will not survive in the society. You should go to the jungle. Because the person without social skills is a disaster. It's the person who is unbearable for the society, for the company. Yes, my dear friends, you're right. But what is the topic? Who has read the topic of our stream? I wonder. When I send you the invitation, do you care to look at the title? Or you trust me so much that you go to any topic, yeah? If I want to look at it from the positive perspective, yeah? What is the title of our today's meeting? Okay, the only consolation here for me that you're thinking. I see that you're thinking through your answers. You really try to think, and it's very, very good. So, according to Carl Jung, there is a special part in our psyche. This is a psychological layer which is built up by education, by nurture. It is called in English nurture. A very famous dispute between scientists. It is called nature versus nurture. What prevails in a human being? His genetics. I didn't make a gap. Nature versus, I hope, versus opposite. Nature or nurture defines the person. But when we say that something was brought up in a person, in the human being, we call it nurture. And those rules and social rules are there. The rules of the good behavior, of good manners, of the standards. So all these combined, taken together, build up the part of our psyche which is called persona. And it was in the title of my stream. And it's a pity that you don't read the titles. So it is called persona. So in each of us, if we were educated anywhere, in the kindergarten, by the governess, nurse, or if we went to school and all of us did, if we were lectured by our own mother, father, you should be a good girl, you should do this and that, all of us developed this persona. So my question to you will be, this question you will answer in your comments, and next time I hope you will bring up the ideas to our next English stream. So why a person without persona is a disaster? Here I saw some signs of aggression to the social standards, to the society. So you are inclined to blame the society, and I would like to warn you that this is the wrong way. You can criticize the society, but never blame society for your misfortunes or something else. There is a healthier way of development when you establish good relationship with any society. You can oppose some ideas if you choose the road, the way of politics, or if you want to become a public speaker. Yeah, sometimes you need to oppose something. But now we're speaking about personality, about the development of the personality. And before you start opposing the society, try to find this opposition in this contradiction in yourself, because each of us is full of those contradictions when our persona contradicts our shadow and doesn't allow our shadow to manifest itself. And because of that, we become quite boring. Sometimes we get tired of life. We lose our main targets. Only rationalistic targets remain, but no dreams. When we stop dreaming, when we don't see dreams when we sleep, it means our shadow has become silent. And it's very sad because the only way of the shadow to convey any piece of information to us is through our dreams, imagination, associations, and certainly dreams which we see while we are sleeping, because they can be extremely informative. And we will speak about our dreams next time. But in order to do it successfully, please, I insist that each of you don't be lazy, please, because sometimes just 2, 3 people do all the job. Write something, do your home tasks, students. I'm joking. You're not my students here, but try to be okay, to be reciprocal. You know the word reciprocal. Reciprocal. To have two ways traffic. To have two ways traffic. So the question is why the person who doesn't have persona, who is so standard and is an obstacle for us so often, but why is the person who doesn't have this persona, who hasn't developed it for some reasons, because lack of education, lack of upbringing, maybe criminal family or something like that, why such a person is a disaster for the relationship, for the job, for any team, for any group? This person becomes a real disaster when he doesn't have a persona. So this is the question for your home task. Okay, I think it's more than enough. Again, we had close to 1:30, okay, 1:20. We have worked today. So as if you were a bit tired today, I think, because most of you participate in both. I think we should divide the groups, those who will go to English and those who will go to Russian, but I don't want to lose you in any group. So maybe it's just, at least in Moscow, it's very hot today, and maybe the brain doesn't work properly. I'm not very happy that you couldn't answer my last question. Not because you couldn't guess it, but it seems to me that you even didn't pay attention to the title of our stream, and it's bad. It's not a good sign. Yeah. Oh, persona has come so late. Oh, the answer has come. Great. Okay. Then it means that we have just delay in the service. Okay. I'm satisfied. Yeah, our persona. Right, you are, and the task is clear now. So, and give a sec to look at the covers, because now I do it on purpose. I don't just do it for beauty. So the pictures which I sent to you, they always have this sense, because I elaborate. I don't do them myself because I'm not so skillful at those things, and I don't have time for that. But the person who does all of them, she has my instructions, what I want to see. So this is my project, yeah. So, and I put, as a painter, puts some sense in the picture. I put some sense in those covers, which I sent you as an announcement. So take a minute and look at them and try to guess what I wanted to say through this or that picture. Okay? So thank you as usual for being active, for trying to think in English, and this is our advantage, and this is something we can be proud of. And I hope that with every stream, your English also improves, because more than 1 hour you are inside the language. And we're speaking not about the weather or some trivial things, but about very, very serious topics. So I hope that it's a great benefit to your English as well. And as usual, I'm waiting for you next Sunday. We will continue speaking about persona and about dreams. We will speak more about our dreams and how our shadow is reflected in those dreams, because the most famous investigators of dreams were Freud and Jung. They had some similar approaches and they have some different approaches. Both are extremely interesting. And I know that some of you like this topic. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome, my dearest. So, and we will talk about your dreams, and you can send me some questions I have kept from Instagram streams. But still, if you had some unusual dreams that puzzled you, you can also write me a message, and maybe I can comment them somehow, not mentioning you personally, because it will be our confidential information, but I can, because I will give some examples from different dreams which I had, which my clients had, which my friends had. So, and I will show you some ways how our shadow interacts with us, with our rational minds, through our dreams. And certainly, as a main line of all those dreams in English is the idea of shadow, of persona, and of self, and in our psyche. By the way, there is a competition in Instagram. This question about shadow and persona and selfness, and still there are 3 or 4 days. On Friday, I will draw a line, and the winner will get a prize, my free of charge session with you for 30 minutes. So that is why each of you who is interested in this reward to have this session, participate in the competition, because some of you have participated already. So you're welcome to take your chance. Yes, delay. You saw my words. Ah, oh, so, okay. So you saw my words, which I wrote. Yes, delay is obvious, but the video in 5 minutes. Ah, merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. De rien, Tim. Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a big delay, and my approach doesn't help. Okay, I will talk with some IT specialist how to get your message sooner. Maybe somebody would advise me how to do it, because I tried to take different internet connections, hoping to get your reply sooner, but it was even slower than here, because certainly it makes this interruption. And as here, I was surprised that nobody mentioned persona, and certainly I wasn't offended because it's stupid, but a little frustrated that you didn't read the title, because I try to do my best to make it interesting for you and captivating and help you with all the ways to be in the topic. So, but in the long run, you say everything is okay. Many of you answered correctly, and those who didn't answer correctly, all your answers here, they show that you are thinking, and this is the main thing, because to give you a term, it's not the most important thing here. Okay, au revoir, mes amis, my friends. See you soon everywhere. So on Tuesday, Jordan Peterson in Russian. Please, all of you, be there. Bye.